So I mean, let's think about the future. We've talked a little bit about the past. We've talked about what it was like when I was younger. I won't make a comment about who was born then, but certainly things have definitely changed. Are they going to carry on changing? I mean, what's our crystal ball, our prediction for the future? Kathleen, what do you think is going to happen for the future of women in law?
So I think I'll have to take Natasha's statistics from earlier on, and the fact that at the moment, at least, there are more female trainees than male, and I think you said 60% at the moment. And so hopefully, for me, it's again what Natasha said at the beginning. It's that there's a general rise, of women through the ranks, if you want to say it that way. And so it doesn't just stay at a junior level, but that it is across all levels, and that there are progressively, I don't necessarily need to see more women all the time, but if there's at least a balanced number of women across all levels, that would be lovely to see. And that's my hope probably for for the future of women in law, is that women do feel comfortable to stay in the profession, regardless of family situation or personal situations, and that they can just continue progressing.
I'd like a future like that, yeah. Natasha, what do you think the future holds for women in law?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, as you say, women can get into the profession now, but the barrier is whether they can actually rise to the top. And I think that the statistics are encouraging in the sense that, of course, we've got more women coming into the profession, so you would expect that to filter through. It's slightly disheartening when you look at the statistics in terms of the movement on that in the last 5 years, and when you look at how firms are actually performing in terms of addressing their gender pay gap. And I think that really explains the complexity of the issues here, and that actually, if we just continue as we are, we might not see that change. And I think we're starting to accept that now, which is why increasingly there's pressure on businesses, on law firms, to think about, well, actually, how do we address this? And it's not just about gender, because there are various kind of other elements that flow into this in terms of people's backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, ethnicity, disability, all of these different factors as well that we need to think about. And so I think that we are looking at hopefully a more balanced profession, but I'm hesitant to say that it's going to be plain sailing. I think it might take some time for us to get there.
Yeah, I think time is the really interesting question, isn't it? So if you look back 20 years when I was starting out, there were probably still more women coming in to be trainees than there were men. And yet we had this huge attrition rate. So I think things have improved, and I do hope that they continue to improve. But I think what we've learned from COVID in particular is the idea that we can all do our work with a greater degree of flexibility than we had before. And that degree of flexibility can really help to keep women in the legal profession, whether that is female clients, so in-house lawyers, and generally female clients in the business. As we see this progression throughout, where more women are staying in careers, then we can work flexibly to meet them when they want to meet. We don't have to do things the way that we used to do it. We don't have to say any business development is in the evening. It can be at lunchtime, it can be in the afternoon. We don't have to work in that sort of really historic way, which I think can help inclusivity in general, not just gender inclusivity, as you say, Natasha. It could be ethnicity, it could be religious background, socioeconomic diversity there. It just lets everybody do things that they're more comfortable doing, and they could be more authentic about how they are in their careers. I think the other thing that we see now, and maybe it's wider than law, is that there's no assumptions now about what a female career looks like. I think the one benefit that I can see of the fact that careers are just so much longer than they used to be is that there's more opportunity to take time out and pick up again. And whether that's because we're doing something that's slightly different, whether it's because you go from private practice to in-house and back to private practice and take a career break, don't take a career break, there is that there's no longer an assumption that you must do it this way. And that can only be helpful in terms of recognising that, quite frankly, we're all individuals. So why on earth we have to try and conform to a particular way, so long as we get our work done and we look after our clients and keep learning. There's just no excuse for it, is there? Do we have any other questions to ask? I don't think so. In which case I'll pause and do a little. Well, thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Kathleen. That's been a really interesting discussion. I'm looking forward to what the next 30 years of women in law is going to hold. I may well have retired by then, but let's see what we can do to keep women in law having fulfilling careers and making sure that there's a path for the women that follow us in our legal careers.